Hello, thank you for stopping by my video. I want to talk about the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center. I was watching a documentary a couple of days ago which was just talking about the alleged conspiracy surrounding 9/11. But what bothered me more about this documentary was the footage that was used. And this documentary is not unique in that I've seen other documentaries and other films and things and TV programs that have used the footage of 9/11. And what struck me is um, the footage of 9/11 is being used as freely as advertisers use sort of pictures and images of half-naked women advertising various products, and how 9/11 seems to be sort of going in that direction, that it's okay to use images of 9/11 and people dying without really thinking of what you're actually seeing. And I don't know about America because obviously I'm not American and I don't live in America, but certainly I live here in Belfast, Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom. And here in the UK, the footage of 9/11 is used pretty much all the time. I mean, you can't go maybe a month without seeing something of 9/11. And I often wonder, is it the same in America, or do the various TV organizations in America maybe censor 9/11 or limit to what is actually shown? Um, but I find it very inappropriate for images of 9/11 to be used the way they are. They need to be treated with respect and not be used to try and get people to watch a TV program to get it ratings, because you're watching two planes which are full of people crash into a building, well, two buildings which is full of people, explode and kill thousands of people. And I think it's very easy for people who are sitting watching a TV show late at night to be presented with all these images and to somehow maybe disconnect from what they're actually watching. And to me, 9/11 should be remembered the way that the Holocaust during the Second World War is remembered. I think the people who died in 9/11 deserve that. I mean, it was no fault of their own. I mean, all those people in the buildings and on the planes, it wasn't their fault what happened. And they were innocent people, and their memory needs to be remembered. And we can't forget 9/11. And it would be a great shame then that in 25 years' time or so, the brutality of 9/11 has been forgotten, and that it's just simply something that happened on the war of terror against Iraq and Afghanistan. So I sort of think that the people who used images of 9/11 should be treating them with a lot more respect than what they're doing at the moment. Um, and I don't think that goes for 9/11 as well. There are other things that should be treated with respect. The 7/7 bombings as well. Footage is used of them with people with blood around their faces and obviously in a lot of shock. And then also in my own country in Northern Ireland, when I was a kid, there was a, a bomb that went off in Oxford Street Station, which killed about, I think it was about 30 people or so. I was very young, I think it was about 4 years old. But this bomb left a big crater in the road, and there was bits of people in the street, and it was very, very traumatic as a child to have actually seen that. But for people, certainly with 9/11, which was, uh, I would say, a global event because everybody's seen it live. I mean, I was out that afternoon when it happened, and I came, I was coming home, and I heard all these school kids on the bus that I was traveling on talking about, oh, America's going to go to war, and I was just sitting there going, what are these kids talking about? And everything. And I just happened to get off the bus. I went into a shop which was at the corner of my street, and everyone was saying, oh, there's been an explosion in America. And I went, oh, right, that's what that is then. I just happened to walk into my house, switch on the TV, and I just caught the second plane, which hit the other uh, twin tower. Um, and I was glued to the television for the next 8 hours or so after that because I just couldn't believe what I was watching. And you know, as traumatic as everything that was when it happened live around the world, it seems as if the media has kind of just forgotten about it now, and it seems, oh, it's okay now, we can show this on TV and nobody will be that bothered about it. But I sort of wonder how it affects people who were involved in 9/11 today, because the cameras have gone away and it's not in the news the way it was before. So because it's not in the news in that capacity, the huge loss of life and how barbaric it was, and that both the American and my own government are focused on the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, and are trying to maybe manipulate what we think and what we remember, so they don't want us to talk maybe about 9/11. I don't know. Um, we kind of sort of forget the bigger picture of the families who've lost their loved ones, and maybe not just those people, but people who maybe were on the street and they watched it, because having watched something very traumatic myself, um, I can identify with how it would deeply affect somebody. Uh, Sort of that post-traumatic stress syndrome, I don't know. But we certainly deserve to be talking about 9/11 and keeping it in people's minds, and keeping the people who died, keeping their memory alive. Sometimes as I was watching this documentary about the conspiracy theory, I was just thinking, is this part of maybe a conspiracy? Are we sort of being manipulated by our governments, that they don't want us to talk about 9/11 simply because if we do, we'll think, well, wait a minute, aren't we supposed to be after Al Qaeda and Osama bin Laden? So if that's the case, since he was the person who orchestrated the attacks, why then are we in Iraq and Afghanistan? And once we start building this argument up against our government, maybe they would find that quite uncomfortable. Obviously, governments have their own agenda. They've, I don't think that's going to change in the future. But I don't really think there's much point to this video. I think it was more of a point of me just airing my opinion, because I really do not like watching people die, and that's what 9/11 is. You're watching people die in the World Trade Center, and it's very sad, and it's very painful to watch, and it's very painful to hear conversations of people talking on the phone, desperate for help and rescue. And that's another thing, that's something that perhaps we don't want to hear either, because it's awful that we couldn't help them. uh, and it seems strange really, because after 9/11 there was, having never been to America, I would I would have easily got on a plane and went, if I could, obviously. I would have went over and tried to help in any way I could have. But it's just one of those things. It sort of brings that sort of protective humanitarian out of you. You know what I mean? But it's something that bothers me still, and I think the media sort of don't have the respect for what happened that day as they should. But anyway, you can let me know your opinion on this. But I'm just ranting now, so I'm gonna go. So take care, everybody, and thank you for watching my video and listening to me just rant away. That's the sort of motif of my videos so far. So take care and speak soon.